Hello and welcome back here on VTV News live from Hanoi, Vietnam. Thanks as much for joining us. I'm Dai Chang in Hanoi and here check out our headlines for this hour. Vietnam-Korea Free Trade Agreement takes effect today. Number of new enterprises hit record believed due to the change in recent enterprise law. Vietnamese and foreign students took part in an international cultural festival showcasing their country's cuisine. We now begin with some economic updates. The Vietnam-South Korea Free Trade Agreement took effect today. Included in the agreement are rules of origin, which relate to tariffs for goods produced in either Vietnam or South Korea, and which will have boosted exports for both nations. Firms from the two trading partners will benefit from tariff cuts, which will have an effect on the economy for both sides, as Vietnam is South Korea's third largest export partner. Under the FTA, Vietnam will lift tariff barriers on nearly 90% of all products from South Korea over a 15-year period following its implementation. At the same time, South Korea will lift tariff barriers on over 95% of all products imported from Vietnam. Now, Vietnam's national single window system has connected three related ministries to form Level 4 online public services nationwide. Many administrative procedures will be done through a single window system that allows traders to quickly complete all import or export related regulatory requirements.
It used to take up several hours for people and businesses to get authorization to enter and exit ports. However, this procedure was recently simplified by the new Level 4 of the National Single Window System, or NSW. Enterprises now only need a computer or phone with internet to register to enter the port.
Now people only need to send a text message and wait for a few minutes to see if they are eligible to get in through the port. This makes the process much easier.
The Ministry of Transport also provides online public services NSW Level 3 and 4 in many areas, such as maritime, registry, and roads. To date, 42% of services related to the Ministry of Transport have been connected to the National Single Window System, which provides 8 times more online public services than was previously planned.
There are over 500 kinds of administrative procedures, and 80 of them can now be done through Level 3 and 4 of the National Single Window System. We will try to add the rest of the procedures in 2016.
Ultimately, 9 ministries are expected to use Level 4 online public services, which could initially reduce 15 to 30% and even up to 90% of the time taken to complete administrative procedures. This new system is therefore expected to greatly reduce the pressure on the current system.
The government cannot keep up with the increasing number of business transactions. Therefore, it is crucial to apply NSW and the Internet to ease the process.
The participation of 9 ministries in the National Single Window System is a good foundation to build the ASEAN Single Window System and prepare for the creation of the ASEAN community. Initially, Vietnam will exchange electronic certificates of origin with Indonesia, Malaysia, and Thailand to simplify administrative procedures.
With 87,000 licenses granted after 11 months, the number of newly established enterprises in 2015 may exceed 94,000. This promises to become a new record for the number of business licenses granted in Vietnam. Experts believe these positive results are due to a 2015 enterprise law.
After years of working for other businesses, Mike decided to start his own business, employing about 20 workers. Though his company is still new, he has received a lot of orders from customers. Now Mike only needs to focus on expanding the company's production.
There is a lot of potential in the domestic and foreign markets. The government also encourages young people to establish enterprises, since it has simplified the process. I hope that the banks will grant more loans so businesses are able to expand.
5 months after the new enterprise law took effect on July the 1st, nearly 41,000 new businesses have been registered, a 30% increase over the same period last year. The majority of newly registered enterprises are in trade and manufacturing.
The business community is very active. They have now started investing more in education, healthcare, manufacturing and exports. Those sectors produce goods for the community, which is exactly what we need.
Along with the rise in new businesses, the number of businesses increasing their capital is also growing. However, from January to November, 62,000 businesses had to suspend their operations due to losses, an increase of 21% over the same period last year.
There are still some issues with the procedures for enterprises, such as the registration process, land hiring, and credit. Global integration requires to enhance our business environment, or enterprises will face difficulties in 2016.
Administrative reforms such as shortening the time needed to register a new business to 2.9 days and encouraging new startups has given a huge boost to the number of new enterprises. This in turn enhances the business environment and the economy in general. Newly established businesses have helped create 1.3 million jobs in 2015, an increase of nearly 33% over the same period last year.
A new trading center at the Hanoi-Moscow Cultural Trading and Hospitality Complex, or InCentra in Moscow, was inaugurated on December 19th. Vietnamese ambassador to Russia, Nguyễn Thanh Sơn, was in attendance at the event, along with businesses, customers, and representatives from the two sides. The InCentra multifunctional complex began operations in September 2014 and thus far has attracted several key Russian enterprises. The facility, a result of cooperation between Hanoi and Moscow, provides overseas Vietnamese people in Russia with living accommodations and a permanent trading center. It also facilitates the export of Vietnamese goods to Russia and other members of the Commonwealth of Independent States. Now, from December 19th, customers in Vietnam can enjoy apples imported from Japan. This move was made after Vietnamese mangoes were allowed in the Japanese market last November and is considered an achievement in the agricultural cooperation between Vietnam and Japan in recent years.
25 tons of apples were officially exported to Vietnam and have been on sale in the Aeon Group's supermarket chain since December 19th. These apples have grabbed the attention of many customers in Hanoi from the first day, with a price ranging from $8 to $13 per kilo.
Japanese apples look attractive. They are sweet and have a pleasant smell. I like to buy them as offerings from my ancestors. I want to buy these apples despite the more expensive price. I trust products from Japan because I think they are safer. Vietnam used to import apples only from the USA or New Zealand. Now there are Japanese apples on the list too, which is great.
On the same day, the Japan External Trade Organization held a promotional workshop on Japanese apples, which was attended by more than 30 Vietnamese enterprises. At the workshop, representatives from Japan presented details on the production process of the fruit.
All 5 types of apples that we exported to Vietnam were planted following a strict process. While growing them, we wrapped them all in bags for cleanliness and disease prevention. We think very highly of the technology used for preservation in Japan. After the workshop, we started talking to partners in Japan about importing their products.
According to the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development, Vietnam and Japan are negotiating to allow more agro exports and imports between the two nations in the future.
Vietnam has achieved many significant breakthroughs in various fields in the past year, particularly in scientific research. However, the country's creativity industry lacks the government attention required to nurture it. The small number of creative startups in Vietnam has received little to no incentives or support for development. Now let's take a closer look in the following report to see how innovative startups are coping with the situation.
Upon his return to Vietnam after years of studying abroad, Trần Hoàng Kim decided to build a creative startup to provide open spaces for young people in Hanoi. Fortunately, he managed to meet people who shared the same ideas. These people later became his first investors.
The idea is mine, but I also need the creative input of other people in the community to do this.
The Creative City model was recently founded in Hanoi in order to satisfy young entrepreneurs' need for innovation. This has already achieved moderate success in making room for creative businesses and also provides jobs for many young people.
I'm very impressed with the creativity I see when working with these young people. We need to have a place where they can discuss and implement their own ideas.
Recognizing the importance of future innovation within the creative industries, the government has started working to facilitate the emergent industry. This new direction will help make innovation one of the driving forces for the sustainable development of Vietnam.
The Ministry of Science and Technology has tasked us with creating a national project to improve the startup ecosystem. I hope that when it's implemented, the creative industry in Vietnam will flourish.
Innovation and investment in modern technology would help boost Vietnam's economic development and improve its position in the global value chain. These first steps taken by the country's young intellectuals bring hope for a brighter future ahead.
In the next part of VTV News, Vietnam's Labor Code of Conduct is toll created to help manage the companies and protect workers' rights. And Vietnamese and foreign students took part in an international cultural festival showcasing their country's cuisine. Stay tuned.
Exotic Vietnam is an intriguing blend of many charms. This land is where all manner of stunning landscapes await like a visual feast, rivaled only by the beauty of its people and their abundantly rich tradition and culture. Here is where you can relive the past in richest color or live it up in the bright lights of the big city. With so much more to offer, Vietnam is simply unforgettable.
Welcome back here on VTV News. Now on December 19th, the Cần Thơ City Employment Service Center opened an employment services session for workers in the Mekong Delta. More than 53 businesses, including 11 businesses with a foreign investment, participated on the employment service floor. Training sessions will be held on an annual basis to meet the needs of returning overseas Vietnamese workers in such diverse fields as accounting, sales, marketing, construction supervisors, technicians, drivers, and Korean, Japanese, and Chinese interpreters. On the same day, the Employment Service Center in Cần Thơ City also organized a session on seasonal work in the new year. More than 50 businesses and 200 students in and outside the province attended this employment session. This activity was a chance for companies to recruit suitable candidates for job vacancies and was particularly useful for students looking for part-time jobs. About 80,000 Vietnamese workers are sent abroad every year, with many recruiting companies established to meet the demand for jobs. As more companies are formed, it is important to help manage the companies and protect workers' rights. Vietnam's Labor Code of Conduct is a tool created to do just that. Now let's find out how this code of conduct is protecting the rights of Vietnamese workers abroad.
Vietnamese workers face many risks working abroad. The Labor Code of Conduct, or COCVN, developed by the Vietnamese government with support from the International Labour Organization, is a valuable tool to help workers choose recruiting companies. Companies violating workers' rights will see their score, rank and reputation fall.
To complement the efforts of the government in terms of their laws and policies around recruitment regulation with such tools that can, of the industry association to self-regulate. I think these are very complementary, and I think it helps to improve the professionalization of the industry.
The code rates recruiting companies on many aspects of their business, including marketing, recruitment, training, contracts, solving disputes, and so on. The new code has helped prevent bad practices at the companies, ensuring fair competition.
With a code of conduct, we're now able to put a standard on our work process, including recruitment, training, paperwork, management, and post-contract assistance. Workers are now able to tell which company could provide the best services and better protect their rights, which reduces the risk of working abroad.
Despite praise for the regulation from workers, recruiting companies and the authorities, one of the difficulties faced by the Code of Conduct is that not all companies are part of it.
A problem is that the Code of Conduct is not compulsory. We are working towards getting all businesses to accept the regulation. In addition, we will encourage and reward companies that are highly ranked. As soon as businesses see the potential benefits, they will join. We cannot inspect 100% of businesses as the numbers keep on rising. However, we will put a priority on businesses violating the Code of Conduct as they are violating Vietnam's laws.
Currently, there are 500,000 Vietnamese contract workers in over 40 countries around the world who depend on the Code of Conduct to ensure good recruitment practices. Vietnam will continue to update and expand the code and issue new policies to protect the rights of its workers in the future.
In other news, the Joint Hand for Life Forum 2015 kicked off in Hanoi on December 19th. The forum drew the participation of 10,000 Vietnamese people. It was co-organized by the National Coordinating Center for Human Organ Transplants and the Ministry of Health in collaboration with the Military Medical Academy. At the event, transplant recipients shared their stories and made new friends. In particular, the families of the organ donors expressed a pride in their relatives who donated organs have saved the lives of many people. Following a public appeal from forum organizers, as many as 1,400 people signed up as organ donors. Currently, there are more than 6,000 patients awaiting corneal, heart and lung transplants. The Vietnamese embassy in Russia bestowed the President's Friendship Medals on 4 experienced reporters from the Russia Today news agency on December 18th. The recipients work at the Asia Department, formerly known as the Vietnamese Department, and include Department Head Elena Nikulina, Office Head Igor Brutov, reporter Alexei Sunebek, and anchorwoman Tatiana Rumianesheva. They have worked hard to have Vietnamese and Russian audiences learn more about the people and culture of both countries, as well as their stances on global issues. These efforts have greatly contributed to cementing the traditional friendship between Vietnam and Russia. The Russia Today news agency, formerly known as the Voice of Russia, was established in 1929. Its first Vietnamese program was broadcast in September 1951. Now, the 35th National Television Festival officially concluded in Dong Hới City, Quang Binh Province on Saturday after 4 days. The festival drew together all of the TV stations in the country, with Vietnam Television as the main organizer. A contest for outstanding TV clips received nearly 500 submissions from the past year, reflecting the dedication of journalists and demonstrating the many diverse aspects of Vietnam television. The entries competed in 9 categories, including documentaries, reports, science and educational programs, as well as talk shows, dialogues and discussions. At the closing ceremony, 27 gold prizes, 56 silver prizes and 5 prizes for excellence were awarded. The Vietnamese and foreign students took part in an international cultural festival on December 19th in Hanoi. This annual event was held by the Faculty of Vietnamese Studies and Language, part of the University of Social Sciences and Humanities at the Vietnam National University. Let's have a look at the celebration in the following.
Korean gimbap, papaya salad from Laos, Vietnamese rice noodle rolls, and bún chả. More than 14 stalls displayed food from 10 different countries at the event. The students brought traditional dishes to the festival, showcasing unique flavors from their own countries.
Our team, we got very excited when we heard the news of participating in this event. So we have been in the last days very busy preparing and thinking what to bring to our classmates here. And we decided to bring typical Cuban food, congee rice, roast pork and cassava.
The most popular dish in Russia is salad nga or olivier. We eat it each New Year. Okay, we need potato, eggs, beans, ham, and so you just cut it and with sauce.
This is the 5th year that the International Cultural Festival has been held by the Faculty of Vietnamese Students and Language. Each year, it attracts numerous visitors from Vietnam as well as abroad. The festival this year also drew the participation of students from the USA, Hungary and Kazakhstan for the first time. Many alumni and students from other schools also attended, contributing their own food stalls at the event.
The International Cultural Festival helps connect both Vietnamese and foreign students. They have a chance to relish cuisine from different nations. I think it's good because cuisine also represents national culture.
I can learn a lot from attending this event. For example, I learned how the event was organized and how to cook some foreign dishes. I also made new friends with many Vietnamese and foreign students.
The International Cultural Festival ended with bamboo dancing and performances by foreign students. Particularly, unique food stalls were granted awards from the event organizers. The festival offered a good opportunity for Vietnamese students and international students in Vietnam to learn about different cultures.
And up next in this edition of Week in Review, let's see what made the headlines over the past week.
First Deputy Prime Minister for the Russian Federation, Igor Shuvalov, paid a working visit in Vietnam from Monday to attend a meeting of the Vietnam-Russia Intergovernmental Committee, who was first received by State President Trương Tấn Sang on his arrival. Then on Wednesday, he and Deputy Prime Minister Hoàng Trung Hải co-chaired the meeting of the Vietnam-Russia Intergovernmental Committee to discuss ways to further promote future economic and trade links between the two countries. The two sides stressed the need to accelerate the ratification of the free trade agreement between Vietnam and the Euro-Asian Economic Union, aiming to improve economic and trade links between the two sides, among other issues. On this occasion, the first Russia-Vietnam Industrial Trade Exhibition was opened on Monday, showcasing products in various fields from high technology, energy, electronics to healthcare, education and food.
National Assembly Chairman Nguyễn Sinh Hùng met with Japanese House of Councillors Vice Speaker Koshishi Azuma on Tuesday to discuss measures to step up cooperations between the two nations. At the meeting, the host asked the Japanese House of Councillors to foster its government's continuing development assistance for Vietnam. Speaking of Vietnam's development, the guests pledged to contribute more to the strong growth of the bilateral strategic partnership between Vietnam and Japan.
President of the Cambodian Senate, Samdech Se Chum, arrived in Hanoi on Wednesday, beginning his official visit to Vietnam at the invitation of National Assembly Chairman Nguyễn Sinh Hùng. The visit aims to step up cooperation between the two legislatures. The Senate President highly appreciated Vietnam's investment in economics, telecommunications and banking in Cambodia. The two sides also agreed to increase cooperation, share viewpoints and consult each other on international issues of shared concern. As part of his visit, he also met with party leader Nguyễn Phú Trọng, State President Trương Tấn Sang and Prime Minister Nguyễn Tấn Dũng to deepen cooperation between the two nations.
The Party Central Committee opened its 13th plenum on Monday in Hanoi with discussions for nominations for leading party positions dominating talks. The meeting discussed a draft resolution for the 12th Party Congress, a report on the implementation of the 4th Plenum Party Central Committee's resolution on party building, lists for the election during the 12th tenure, working and election regulations for the 12th tenure, and other important issues.
The Ministry of Natural Resources and Environment held a press briefing to announce the commitments made by the Vietnamese delegation at COP21 on Wednesday. The report submitted by Vietnam at COP21 asserted that the country is committed to cut greenhouse gas emissions by 8% by 2030. In the following years, these could be cut by 25% if Vietnam receives international financial support. If the Paris Agreement is ratified, Vietnam will actively develop roadmaps, plans and solutions to achieve the country's stated objectives.
Many overlapping cultural layers with relics of architecture, sewerage systems have been found in the imperial citadel of Thăng Long in 2015, according to an announcement in Hanoi on Monday. This archaeological pit contains artifacts from different dynasties such as Lý, Trần, and Nguyễn. Thăng Long Imperial Citadel was recognized as a World Heritage Site by UNESCO in 2010. Since then, scientists have been working hard to unearth its underground structure in order to fulfill Vietnam's commitment in heritage preservation.
Now time to check out our weather updates. And that's all we have for now. In the meantime, do log on to vtv4.vn or youtube.com/vtv4go for more news and updates. For now, goodbye.